Roll call, please. Jennifer. Jennifer, I'm going to unmute you.
All right. Ms. Bernstein?
Sharon, just nod your head. We see you. Okay.
Ms. Grisham? Mr. Globinger?
I'm here.
Mr. Parsi? Ms. Shu?
Here.
Ms. Young? Mr. Fromm?
I'm here, and I need a motion to approve the agenda, please. Kate, unmute everybody.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries. We're going to the approval of the minutes. I need a motion. Come on, guys. Who said? I think it was Maura first.
I think so too.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve the draft budget.
Motion to
So
approve
moved.
the draft budget.
Jay said so moved. Jamie, you second?
Oh, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Grisham?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes, motion carries. The draft budget has been approved. Kate, would you please provide an update on coronavirus response by the library?
Sure. So as everyone knows, the library is currently slated per the stay in place order from the governor to be closed until at least April 7th. We have extended all due dates beyond that, as well as all cards that were expiring. Staff are currently working on getting virtual programming up and running, and we're going to be starting next week with some virtual story times. We also are partnering with Covenant Village to do a village-wide screening of a documentary that we were going to be showing in April. And we have a children's performer, Little Miss Anne, who is also slated to come in April, that's going to do a live performance for our patrons as well. Staff continue to work on other programming ideas and reach out to our community partners to figure out ways we can support some virtual programming in our community. We are issuing library cards right now through an online form that our CERC staff is checking. I believe we've issued over 40 now. Brody, correct me if I'm way off on that number at this point.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so that's been wonderful, and then people will be able to get real cards when we reopen. We also are offering readers advisory and reference services through our email. We do have maintenance going in and checking the building periodically just to make sure everything is okay. Because construction is considered an essential service, we are going to be starting our second floor renovation project for the study rooms next week. Pepper has strong procedures in place to allow for social distancing amongst the staff and subcontractors that will be in the library. Anna and I will be taking turns going in while workers are in the building to ensure there's a staff presence there as well. So we are all working remotely at this point. It has been going pretty well, I think, but there's definitely been a learning curve. We're all getting to know the Ring Central meeting app really well. So that has been great. And we'll take it one day at a time. The coronavirus joint task force that the library is part of, along with the villages, the schools, the park districts, and the Northfield Township, continues to meet regularly and send out messaging to both of our communities. This has been, I think, a really valuable resource to allow us to make decisions as a group and get communication out to all different areas of the community. But I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has on what the library is doing or what the task force is doing or anything that you'd like to see us doing that we're currently not doing.
Please raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Yes.
I'm not on mute. So Kate, are you getting updates about, I know everybody sort of keeps talking about the end date of this, and that's not, for discussion, but will you, have an idea? I know they're talking now, they're pushing it back. I mean, I have 2 kids in high school, so I know, but are you you'll get inclination of sort of where we are with how many weeks out we are going to be?
Yeah, so at this point, the message that we've been receiving from the Cook County Department of Public Health and the hospitals is that we have not yet experienced a surge, which is good, but they do still expect one to come. This is all projections at this point, but the schools are looking at if they have to close for the remainder of the school year, and that seems pretty likely. We've already decided to push back summer reading to start in July, because even if we were in the building in June, we don't want huge influxes of people coming into the building. So at this point, based on the information that I've read and the calls that I've been on, I would guess that we'll be continuing to shelter in place until the end of May. But keep in mind that I am a librarian and B, a librarian. So I can't, that's my best guess at this point, but stuff is changing.
No, but
so
you're in
quickly.
touch with, right.
Aaron,
Yeah, and you're doing
the
it.
person that can see the end of this will be considered the American Oracle of 2020. That
No,
person.
I know, but I just, right.
Okay, I want to recognize trustees Kay and Parsi and A.B. Young that just joined, and staff Susan Wolf and Tracy Gossage that joined. And there is a person with a phone number 8679, which has not identified himself.
That's me. It's Abby. I just dialed in from my phone.
Oh, okay.
I'm not using
All right, perfect. Any questions for Kate, please?
No. I do. I have one.
Go ahead.
I assume that none of the staff or volunteers at the library, no one's contacted you to let you know that they've tested positive or they've got any symptoms, right?
Correct. We, at this point, have instructed staff if anyone is sick. We have had a couple staff that have tertiary connections where a staff member that a member of their house, someone that a member of their household has been in touch with has been, and we've had 2 staff that have been quarantined because of that kind of tertiary connection, but nothing, and we would let the board know if we were to receive any information. In terms of the volunteers, we've asked people to tell us, but whether or not they will, we have a little more weight with staff, so.
Right. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that everyone's well.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Any more questions for Kate? Seeing none, I continue with the coating and sealing replacement project. And I first want to thank Maura and the people from West Jenny for overseeing this and recognizing that we may need another additional and a contingency fund, which it was added, so that I will need a motion and then we will discuss it. Motion to approve the coating and sealing replacement project. So move.
Carlos, can we introduce Tony Cinnamon and Joshua Friedland from West Janey?
They see them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Any questions regarding this? Any comments by Maura?
I had a couple of questions that I think you had addressed, but I thought we'd just discuss a little bit with everyone here, if that's okay.
Sure.
In looking at the bids, my question was, the the difference between the two, because of the sort of the means and methods, the fact the scaffolding versus the scissors lift, that makes all the sense in the world. But when they move inside, my question is why we've got a difference, if I'm reading the bid comparison correctly, of between 420,000 and say 70,000. That's a huge jump. Are things
I
not
think that
included?
part of the problem, Nora, is that one is a contractor of subcontractors and the other one is direct owners. Am I correct, Tony or Joshua?
Yeah, that's right, Carlos. So the Berglund bid, Berglund is just a general contractor, and they would be
Right.
subcontracting it out. So a lot of that, well, not a lot, some of that cost certainly is strictly just Berglund's overhead. Also, we talked with both contractors about, you know, kind of how they were going to go about it. Berglund had a bit more of a, I don't know if we'll call it a conservative, but, you know, their plan on the interior was to build an entire sort of, you know, plywood wall there and do it. You know, I think they were going to approach it where they they were going to use this plywood, build this plywood wall in different areas and do the interior work there, where Eagle's process would be using more tarps and things like that, and they would be easier to move, less time to construct, less money to construct, things like that. So Eagle's a bit more utilitarian. They both get the job. They would both get the job done, just kind of in slightly different ways. And so, Joshua, I don't know if you want to piggyback on that at all.
Yeah, I think Tony put it well, as Eagle taking a utilitarian approach, so it won't have quite as nice finishes for the library. You know, it will more look like a construction site. I think Eagle's preference, and we talked a little bit about with Anna during the walkthrough, and I think all of you will have to weigh in as well, of scheduling of the work. I think Eagle would prefer to do a lot of the interior work at night, if that is possible. So that was how they were hoping to deal with some of the fume issues. And
but I guess, of course, if they do the interior work while the library's closed, then, you know, then that won't be an issue then, I guess.
Right, exactly. And I will say, Eagle is very anxious. They have been calling me every day to find out.
My concern is about dust and dirt next morning after they finish the work. And if they are careful about it, then I don't see a problem working at night. Kate, you want to comment on that?
I think that if we don't have staff in the building, we should have them work whenever they want to and get it done as quickly as possible.
Okay.
But if the library is closed, they won't have to work at night.
I'm sorry?
If the library is closed, because we're in this position that we're in right now, they will not have to work at night. They will be able to work during the day.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Maura?
And I think...
Maura.
I know that one of the things that we talked about before is whether or not they're removing the interior, the radiators along the perimeter. And do you know if Eagle Painting is planning on doing that, or were they planning on leaving those in place? Because I think that's a big item and that could impact the end result.
Go ahead, Joshua.
So we did talk to Eagle specifically about that. They are planning on removing the radiators to get to all those areas. I don't think Anna had reached out to some of the mechanical contractors who do some of the maintenance on those, and I don't think it was a huge cost, maybe $10,000. So in the scope of the project, not a huge cost. But Eagle was planning on doing that.
It was $10,000 aside, Joshua, so $30,000 in total.
Thanks,
Okay.
Anna.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
One question I have, in this business, what is the average markup by a contractor over subcontractors?
Probably 20%.
Yeah.
20? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
it sort of varies from project to project, but average is probably about 20%.
So at least we were saving 360,000 from that. Yeah. Still, I need a motion. Unless there is any other comment.
I have one more question, and this is more about the library side of it. When we approve this budget, what are we approving as a contingent?
So we put the $100,000.
Was originally in the budget?
100,000 in the motion, so it would be 494,200 for the bid plus another 100,000 for a contingency fund for a total of 594,200.
The motion is to approve the recommended bid from Eagle Painting and Maintenance Company in the amount of 494,200 plus an additional 100,000 for a contingency fund for a total of 594,200.
If we need a contingency that's even more of that, is that a problem? Are we better off having a higher contingency and getting to keep that money? Or are we better off, because there's such a discrepancy, I would feel comfortable with a higher contingency there.
Guys from Wilson, what's your comment? Do we need a higher contingency?
Well, it's really more of a if we need more money, is it going to be difficult for the board to go back and say?
Yeah, Maura, I think that the problem is they're reshuffling the money back into the accounting. We don't have that much leeway. Once we allocate funds, then I don't know how much leeway we have to say, all right, this is leftover funds, we're going to put them somewhere else. Anna, you want to comment on that?
Well, in the budget right now, we have $1 million set aside for this project. The $100,000 that we're adding to the contingency is kind of, some of it is earmarked for replacing the metal panels on the first floor that were installed in 1999. Rather than repainting them and repairing them, we're going to look into the cost of just replacing them outright.
If I hear you right, you're saying that we have about 300,000 or 400,000 of leftover money. Am I right?
Statement.
In that case, Maura is correct. We can just raise another 100,000 of contingency and have 694,200.
I think it could impede the project, and it just, not that this is appearances, but it doesn't look good if we then have to go back and say, oh, we need another $50,000 to complete this because our contingency wasn't enough. And normally I wouldn't say your contingencies should be, 20% of the project, but because there's such a difference in their bids, I think it would be nice, because we are so far below budget, I think it would be nice to have an extra cushion in the contingency.
I defer to your experience. If you want to make a motion to have a $200,000 contingency instead of 100, please say so move. And
okay, so move.
All right, second.
I'll second.
Okay,
so,
the motion is that to approve the recommended bid from Eagle Painting and Maintenance Company in the amount of 494,200 plus an additional 200,000 for a contingency fund for a total of 694,200. Kaihan, please. Can't hear you. Unmute yourself.
Bottom left.
He did unmute himself. I think that maybe your headset isn't turned on, Kaihan. If you want, I'm like throwing everything I said at the beginning of the meeting out. If you would like to, you can also, oh, there we go. Okay.
Hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kaihan.
So it says it's a 90-day schedule. When would be, I guess, a reasonable start date?
They want to start tomorrow, Kaihan, if they could.
Right.
Okay. First, let's vote on this.
We would ask them to focus on the interior first and then move to the outside.
All right. Jennifer, roll call, please.
Ms.
Can you say the
Bernstein?
motion one more time?
Sure. The motion is to approve the recommended bid from Eagle Painting and Maintenance Company in the amount of $494,200 plus an additional $200,000 for a contingency fund for a total of $694,200. We have a budget of $1 million for that.
So moved.
Okay. Any more questions? Jennifer, roll call.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Mr. Parsi?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Froome?
Yes, motion carries. Do you need, Anna or Kate, do you need any signatures for this or you can proceed immediately?
We can proceed immediately.
Tony, you're entitled to call Eagle Painting tonight and tell them go for it.
All right,
you
they'll
very
be,
much.
all right, they'll be
We
out
might
there at
be
7
there
a.m.
before
tomorrow.
sundown.
Okay. Annual review of non-resident fee method. I need a motion, and the motion proposed is motion to approve the use of the tax bill method for the next year to calculate non-resident fees for existing homes and use the incorporated Northbrook developer impact fees to charge an equivalent amount to new developments until such time as they receive a tax bill for their property. This is continuing what we have been doing so far in this practice. So let's first have a motion and then we'll have discussion. Motion to so move.
So move.
Who's that?
Second.
Jamie and
Jamie moved and Kahan seconded.
thank you. Roll call, please. Oh, no, wait, discussion. No discussion. Roll call,
Right.
please.
Carlos, maybe before you do that, this is Tony. I think Joshua and I are going to log off if you don't need us for anything else.
Thank you. No, we don't.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very
Unless
much,
you
folks.
want to be public.
Thank you.
That's okay. Thanks.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Appreciate your time. Okay, roll call, please, Jennifer.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Mr. Parsi?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Froome?
Yes, thank you. Motion carries. Regarding the next item, the board meeting schedule, you guys all saw it. The only concern that I have is that April 15 is tax day next year. So maybe we should consider moving it to a week later. Some people may want to file on that day. Some people may be busy before the day, so we will not be able to read the packet. I prefer that we have a relaxed board a week later. What do you think?
Has the deadline been extended beyond April 15th because of
Yeah,
the
the
pandemic?
Yeah,
I
yes.
think it has been.
It's
July
for the
15th.
2021 meeting, April 15th,
Oh,
2021.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know, I did the same thing when
Oh,
Carlos.
Oh,
told me.
okay.
I'm like, no, it's July.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion, guys.
Motion to move the meeting from the 15th to the next week, which is the 22nd.
Thank you, Amy.
And approve all of the
second.
other meetings for fiscal year 21, please.
Yes.
And approve all the other, what she said. Yes.
Okay, I need a second.
Okay.
I'll second
I
it.
second.
Sharon. Okay,
Got it.
roll call, please.
Ms. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Shu?
Yes.
Ms. Bernstein?
Hello?
Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Mr. Parsi?
Yes.
Mr. Froome?
Yes, motion carries. For the agenda for next meetings or the next future meetings, we have general policy manual, board officer nominating committee, the transfer of funds to debt service and CIF, and ED review. Anybody wants to add anything to that agenda?
I also want to just touch base if we can, Carlos. I fully anticipate that our April meeting will also be a virtual meeting.
Yep.
And so if there is anything that you feel would not lend itself well, like I know we moved the we didn't talk about the general policy manual that I had sent out to everyone at the beginning of March. That feels like eons ago now. If you still don't feel comfortable talking about it virtually, we can table it. Also, my review, the Charm Foundation had sent out the 360 eval. Ashley told me a couple days ago that she has that and is ready to give it to us whenever you would like to review it. But if you also would rather wait on that until we're back in person, that's fine. I just would like some direction on what you guys would like to do.
Let's put it on the agenda for a closed board meeting next meeting.
Great. That'll be fun to figure out. No, we'll figure it out.
I know you will. And then that's it. And if Kate and I discuss that is overwhelming the agenda, maybe we will reduce it and spread it out over a little bit more meetings so that we can have a reasonable time. It's easier to be in person, but this is kind of confining in these little square boxes where you are. So I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second the motion to adjourn.
Maura. Jennifer, please, roll call, even for this.
Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Christian?
Yes.
Mr. Globinger?
Yes.
Mr. Parisi?
Yes.
Ms. Shield?
Yes.
Ms. Young?
Yeah.
Mr. From?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you very much. I'm glad to tell you that you can go to dinner at 6:30.
Spot on, Carlos. All right, thanks everyone. It was good seeing you all.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks
All right,
everybody.
feel free to reach out if anyone has any questions.
Be
Be
safe.
safe, everybody.
All right,
Be
you too.
healthy, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, bye.